Welcome to Let's Weave Beads. In this video I will be working with the 5th diamond of our star. I'm going to do this one slightly different from the first 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break up the parts of the stitch we are using. This one we are using the rectangle right angle weave, and the first part is doing row 1 and the first 2 rectangles of row 2. So here I have my string and I've put on my bead stopper. If you're a right angle weaver, you may have different ways that you do bead stopper. I just use a little piece of tape. Now for row 1, we just do this rectangle here. This is row 1. And I always add the inner 2 beads first. It doesn't matter which direction you go. You can go either direction. I'm going to go this way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course with this particular pattern they're all the same color, so that makes it even less necessary to know which way you're going. You're just adding 5 black beads. I mean 6 black beads. Let them drop down to your bead stopper. Then you want to get the first 2 and you want to go in the same direction as you stitch the first time, which is away from the bead stopper, and go through both beads. And there you have on your first rectangle, which is row 1. So that takes care of row 1. Now, if row 1 does have different colors, you will want to check where your string is exiting, whether it's exiting on this side or it's exiting on this side, and that will determine whether you add these 6 beads first or these 6 beads first. I'm going to say mine's exiting on this side, so I'm going to do these 6 beads. You would do these the same way. You do the first one here, then you do the inner 2 and go around. So you do the first one, the inner 2, and go around. Doesn't matter, but as long as you make sure this one is laid correctly according to the design. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I mentioned this, but part of the reason I'm doing this one this way is so that if you have trouble with a particular part of the stitch, you can find it in the video, which I'm going to designate the minutes for the different parts in the description so you can find them easily. So here we have our 6 on. We want to find the first one. Want to thread through it in the same direction, which means away from row 1. And there we have the first rectangle of row 2. And then the second rectangle gets added by going 1, 2, 3. So that's a black and 2 blues. And now we want to attach to row 1. So you want to find those 2 beads here that is part of row 1 where your bead stopper is coming out of, and you want to go through it on the side of, starting on the side of your bead stopper towards the previous rectangle. And there we are beginning. Now what I like to do is I always like to end at this bead, which is where your row continues. So we want to end at this bead, so we're going to go around the 4 beads we just, or the one on the previous rectangle and the 3 beads we just added. there we have our first row and the first two rectangles of our second row. Now we'll set that. Oh wait, no, sorry. I'm actually continuing to work with this. I'm setting this aside, and we're going to part 2, which also will be part 4, because with the right angle weave, your string will either be coming out towards your previous row, or it'll be coming out the other direction. For this one, for ending a row and starting a new row, increase to increase, which means that your rows are getting bigger. So you're going from an increase to an increase. And this one, the string is coming in towards your previous row. Doesn't matter which way you're holding the piece, as long as your string is coming towards your previous row, then you're going to add your beads in this direction. Put that. Your string's coming this way, so you're going to add them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want the beads that are closest to your previous row and going around to the ones furthest away. So these are 3 blues, and 2 blacks. Now we want to end on the side of our next row. So to do that, we first need to attach, which means we go through that bead that's part of our previous rectangle. And then our string is coming in towards the previous row again, so we would need to go all the way around all 5 beads to be on the side of our new row. Now we've gone through all 5 beads, and our string is now on the side of our new row, and it is coming down. So we've got this one up here to add, and this one, so we're actually going to add them at the same time, and we're going to do a kind of figure 8. So to do that, we will add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 beads. And here the first 5 are blue and the second 4 are black. There's our 5 blue. And our 4 black. Then you want to go back 5 beads. There's 5, so we'll let them go. And then we take the 6th one and we bead it and thread it the same direction, which means away from the piece, for lack of a better way to put it. And then we want to attach it, which means this 2 beads where our piece is coming out of, we want to enter it from the opposite side, the end of the row, going in towards the string where it attaches. There we go. And now we have on that end rectangle and the second rectangle. So that gets our row started. Now we're going to come back to this when we come to the end, because the string will be coming out the opposite side, so I can show you that. And we're going to continue the row by adding rectangles. So our string is coming out here. We want to always end, so we're on that bead at the very end of the row we're working on. So now our string is coming away from our previous rows. So when we add, when it's coming away, we add in this direction 1, 2, 3. So you add the outer 2 beads first and then the one that's going to connect. So they are all black. So then we want to find where we're going to connect, which is the 2 beads here, and we want to go towards the rectangles or our row. So we want to go in this direction. And then we go through that bead that's part of the previous rectangle. And then as we want to end on the end of our row, we'll go through all 3 beads we just added. And that is the first direction for adding a new rectangle. Now our string is coming in towards our previous row, which is the opposite of what it was doing earlier. So it's coming in towards. So we want to go through those 2 beads that will attach it to the previous row. And then we're going to add them starting with the one that connects and coming to the ones that are outside. So we want to add them in this direction. So we need 2 reds and a black. And then to attach, we go through that bead that's on the end of our last rectangle, and then the 2 beads that are part of the previous row. And that attaches it, and then we just go through that end bead so we're at the end of our row. And then that is how the 2 directions for adding your rectangles and continuing your row. And then we will return to this one, which is ending a row and starting a new row when it's increase to increase. And here, our string is now coming out away from the previous row. So it's coming out this direction. So this time we're going to add our beads this way. So the outer 2 first, and then the 2 that are closest to the previous rows. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 2 blacks and 3 reds. Then we go through that bead that is the, the bead that our string is coming out of. We want to go through it so that it's coming out on the same side. And there we have added the end of this row. Now to get in position for the new row, we just want to go through the 2 side beads here that is on the side of our new row. And now we're ready to add our new row. And for this one, we just start with these beads here because our string is coming out on this side, so we can go right into these. So we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is a red, followed by 4 black, and another red. And then you will go through that first bead you added again, You want to go through it in the same direction, which means away from your current work. And now you have begun your new row. So that is the 2 directions for ending a row and starting a new row. And also previously we did the 2 directions for continuing a row and adding another rectangle. Adding another rectangle. So those are the 2 directions for that. Now we're going to jump ahead. And we're going to do ending a row and starting a new row. But when you are on that center row and you are going from an increase down to a decrease. So this will only be when you're ending a center row. Now of course I'll be showing this to you twice because of course when you end a row your string could be coming out either direction. So the first direction we're going to do is your string is coming out on the side of your previous row. So our string is coming out on this side, so we're going to add our beads in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's all black. And then you want to go through that bead your string is coming out so that it's coming out on the same side. And now you have completed your longest center row. Now to get into position for your new row, what you're going to want to do is go down through that previous rectangle. So that means this one here, you want to go down through it. So you'll go through all 5 beads of your previous rectangle. That's the inner 2 beads and the center bead, and then the outer 2 beads going towards the one we just added, and that gets you in position for your new row. And your string will be coming out this way, so you're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are all black. And then where your string is coming out, you go through those 2 beads going towards where the string is exiting. And you've added the first rectangle of your new row, going from increasing to decreasing. Now going the other direction, making sure I'm grabbing the right stuff. Okay. Now the string here is coming away from your previous rows. So you're actually going to start on this side. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you'll add your 5 beads, which are all black for this piece. And then you find that bead where your string is coming out of, go through it so your string's coming out on the same side. And now all you need to do, because your string is coming out on this side, is to go through those 2 beads. So you want to go through the second set of 2 beads. And now you're ready to add yours. And this time, because your string is coming down, you'll add them in this order. And then you find the 2 beads your string is coming out of, thread through them so your string's coming out on the same side, and you've begun your new row. So that's the two directions for ending a row on an increase and going to a decrease. And then the last one we are going to do is ending a row on a decrease and going to a decrease. So that is the last part of the right angle weave. So for the first one, as you can see here, our string is coming away from the previous rows. So we're going to add the beads in this order, 1, 2, 3. So that is 3 black, and then you want to attach it, so you want to attach to the 2 beads. They're the second 2 beads, and you want to go towards your previous rectangle. Then you want to go through that center bead here, and as we're going to a decreasing row, we want to go through the second 2, not these 2 going towards the end, but the 2 going in towards our row. And then we will add our beads. Now our string is coming out of the bottom, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is a black and 3 whites. And we see where our string is coming out of those 2 beads. We go through them so our string's coming out on the same side. And there we have started our new row, going from a decrease to a decrease. And then the same thing, a decrease to a decrease, but this time our string is coming in towards the previous row. So first we go through the 2 beads on the previous row. Then we add our beads in this order. This time they're all black. And we want to go through that bead on the previous rectangle. Then the 2 beads on the previous row that are as part of our current rectangle. And then the end bead of our row. Actually, I did that wrong. We're going to back up. I'm sorry. So used to doing this. So if you do this, just remember you just need to back up. Now, okay, so we've added our 3 beads, added the 3 beads. We've gone through that bead that is of the previous rectangle. Now, because we're doing a decrease, we don't want to go up like I did. We want to go down through the previous rectangle. So we want to go down this way, so that we're in these 2 beads over here. So we will now go down through the previous rectangle, and now my string won't go through. Alright, so down through the previous rectangle. Yes, there we go. And the center bead. And then through the 2 beads, which are the second set on the side. Alright, now we are in the proper position to add our new row. And we're coming up towards the end of the row, so we're going to add in this direction. That's 3 whites and a black. Alright, and then we go through the 2 beads where our string's coming out, and we go towards where the string is coming out. And you've started your new row. Alright, what do I want to say? Oh, yes. This last part I'm not going to show, but I want to tell you, when you get to the last row, which will be a decrease to a decrease, these 2 beads will be in the center. So you want to just be careful that when you add the last row, that you add them in the correct order, because it'll be even between the 2 and it won't look exactly the same as all the previous ones. So for the last row, you just want to make sure where your string is coming out and that you add them in the correct order. Because like with this one, which is rare for this star, it actually matters which side you put the beads on. I hope this video has been useful. Like I said, I do plan to put in the description the minutes for the different parts so that you can find them easily. And I hope to see you in further videos. Happy beading!